everything that you've studied about attachment styles and everything you've learned about yourself and the person that you've got broke up with, or if you've broken up with them, you still want your dismissive avoidant back. And why is that the case? I've got some interesting comments here in my comment section. I want to share that with you guys right after this. Thank you guys for sticking around. Now, this is an interesting discussion I have for you guys today, because it's something that I see a lot of people end up in. This is a situation where they end up, really hung up on someone that they were dating, or if they are with someone that's a dismissive and the person has deactivated, or like to say, the turtle has gone back into the shell. I'm going to read this comment because there was a lot of interaction here, and I think it's really a good indication on just what people are feeling throughout this breakup, throughout this learning about attachment styles and trying to heal themselves. And this person said something that was kind of rude. It was a couple years ago, but the comment section set them straight. Here on my channel, I advocate for the different sides of the fence, the avoidants and the anxious attachers. I try to be that mediator, that person in the middle, because it's what I did. It's what I've done all my life. It's what I did for working with at-risk youth. I advocated for them a lot. And, they just needed a voice, someone to speak up for them when they felt like they had no voice. So what the comment says is, I have no idea why an anxious attacher would try so hard to get a dismissive avoidant back. I understand why they would due to dysfunctional attachment, but logically it's crazy. Okay, first off, that's putting the dukes up, and you're ready for a fight saying something like that. It's nothing but frustration, rejection, and slow destruction of self-worth. Just block and move on. This idea of trying to play games to get them back is pathetic and ridiculous. All right, I'm gonna pause right there. All right, play games and pathetic and ridiculous. Well, I'm an anxious attacher too, so I'm kind of offended there, because he acts as if this was something that I had some type of control over. Let's not forget, if you see the flies are back, these gnats for my plants are back. I don't know how to get rid of those. But if you think about, what we experienced as kids, we had no control over. Right? We really didn't. So it set the tempo for how we're going to show up in our adult relationships. This isn't some type of choice that people who have insecure attachment are, showing up with or presenting. This is something that is subconscious, because the subconscious mind is so much more powerful than our conscious mind, right? We don't have a say-so in, what our automatic response, like the ANTs. A lot of therapists use the acronym ANTs, automatic negative thoughts, the automatic triggers that show up. We don't have a choice over it. It's out of our control. So pathetic and ridiculous. It's almost like getting mad at someone who's disabled and say, if you're on a hike and they're in a wheelchair and you say, hey, get up and walk. It doesn't work that way. You'd have a lot more empathy for them, because you can physically see what their issue is. And not saying that having an insecure attachment is a disability, but it is something that we have no control over, especially when we haven't been given the tools to overcome this and to strengthen ourselves and become a more secure attacher. So he said, find a securely attached partner after taking time to get your anxious attachment style over to a more secure attachment style. Above all, love yourself. I get it. And this is something, I honestly get where he's coming from here, especially being a coach. And I've been doing this for years now. It's really hard when you're coaching, it's really hard to slow yourself down and meet a person where they're at. And that's where my background in working with people who were at-risk youth and people who were struggling with drug and alcohol addiction, I didn't judge them, and I met them where they were at. And this is always going to get some type of blowback, right? So in the section it says, one person said, the most frustrated word, move on. People talking talking like it's a button you press. Believe me, if it's that easy, I would have done it straight after the breakup. But it's the bloody brain that you don't have any control of. It's not stopping and thinking and analyzing. Right, exactly what I was just saying. It's not that easy. And then there's another one I saw here that was, I agree with, actually hearted this one. This is the most judgmental and unhelpful comment. Everyone deserves empathy. Right. And it's just, it goes on, and people were talking more about that in the comment section. But it's not something that you control. So why is it that you want this person back? Right? That's the original question. Why is it that you want this person back in your life? And it has a lot to do with the addicted brain, because I think being an anxious attacher, essentially is being codependent, and codependency is being addicted to the neurological chemicals that person releases for you. The oxytocin, the adrenaline, the dopamine, everything that comes around is associated with that person. This is why whenever I have sessions with people, even after the session, they feel so much better because they got to talk about that person at least. They got to say the person's name. They got to get it all out there in the open. And it gave them like this secondary hit of dopamine because they're still, they're still able to be associated with that person in some way, shape, or form. This is why it's hard for a lot of people to get over, to like cut off the friends and the family of someone that they just got broken up with, especially if you're an anxious person or an anxious attacher, anxious preoccupied. It's something that you really have no control over. So whenever you are about to, poke at someone or make a little bit of a dig, you have to understand that this isn't something that they're willingly choosing to do. Like, we don't choose to. If you think about someone who's in relationships where they're getting abused or who essentially need to go to like some type of battered woman shelter or something like that, they're not choosing that, and as anxious attaching people, we're not choosing to be insecure. We're not choosing to be clingy or needy. This is just the way that we choose, that we've learned how to get our needs met. If you think about the book Attached, one example that they gave is once the caveman left the cave, you have a few different type of people. The people that are going to grasp onto him and grasp his leg and say, hey, never leave. I don't want you to go. Or you have people that's going to say, all right, see you later. We tend, as anxious attachers, tend to be the more grasping of the leg because we feel that abandonment coming, because out there in the world, anything can happen. Even after a breakup, we don't know. We don't know if we're going to never meet anyone else after this person. We don't know if this person's going to meet someone else and never come back to us, because that's another question people are. I asked them, I said, what's your number one concern? And they said that I'll never see this person again, or they'll never come back, or this person will leave me. That's the biggest concern, is they'll leave me and they'll never come back. Well, I have to brace them for option 2, because 1, the worst has already been done. They've left. And 2 is you have to change yourself so that if they do come back, or heal yourself so that if they do come back, they won't leave you again. Because essentially, once you have that pause and that reset in the relationship, this is why you see the off and on relationships happen. You have that pause and that reset where the person may give you a second opportunity or a third opportunity, or sometimes fourth, fifth, sixth. And if you haven't changed the way that you're showing up, they're just going to leave again, or you're just going to push them away again. So if you want my help personally, reach out to me on my website, www.fruitfulseeds.com. And I hope you found this valuable. Please like, comment, and share. And always remember, when you go be loved, you'll never have to find it. Namaste.